Fade Up, and we're back with another video. Hope you're all well. I mean, we had our first pre-season game over the weekend. It was great to be back, and we will be bringing a few more games coming through over the next week. But given that my kind of schedule is a little bit busy over this past week, I've got time to really kind of sit down and do a little video for you. Today we're actually doing our National League predictions for the 2024-25 season. Now, of course, we did one last season. I reacted to it a few weeks ago, so I thought, you know what, let's do an updated version of our predictions. So we've done a few kind of early prediction videos. We did one for League 2, we did one for League 1, and let's just say there's been quite a lot of activity with these videos, and of course a lot of it just take it with a pinch of salt, because look, what my opinion might be different to what you are sitting at home watching this video. But of course, if you're new around here, like, subscribe to the video. We're on the way to 3,000 subscribers. Let's get there. And like I say, it's been one of those where I love the National League. It's one of my favourite leagues that I love to cover as well. And also, if you like to hit the bell for notifications when I put a new video out, there's plenty of videos coming, of course, in pre-season, and of course we'll have the league start as well very, very soon. So without further ado, let's get on with it. So we're going to start with the most important one: who is going to win the league? Now, I could probably say this league is going to be the most open National League that we've had probably in a good 5 or 6 years, because we've always had a team that's just ran away with it. Wrexham, Notts County, Chesterfield, you know, those kind of teams. So it's going to be wide open. So we're not going to get, I believe, the 100-odd point mark that we've had over the last couple of seasons. So, but for me, the club that I feel that is going to win the league this season, and they were a little bit unlucky last season not to go up, and they are a side that is, you know, ex-Football League club, but I do feel they're on the way back, and that is, of course, Barnet. I do think, you know, the Hive needs to tick off that ground, but they are a club that has been threatening to go up. So Barnet are going to be the top dogs for me. Now then, who's finishing second, and who's going to be sort of the main contender in the playoffs? Now, a side that, well, as we're recording this, have just signed Tom Crawford, who for me is a great signing and he's brilliant at this level, and that is, of course, Altrincham. Now, they've been a side that's been on the channel. They haven't been on the channel for, well, for a good year or so. That was non-league day, of course, last season. But for me, they're a great club. There's some great people that work at Altrincham, and I like the setup. Phil Parkinson is a brilliant coach. He's a brilliant manager, and for me, they came from nowhere to finish in the playoffs. And like I say, they were unlucky again. Another side, they were unlucky not to go up last season, because it was just so open really with that playoffs. But for me, I'd like to see Altrincham have a go at the Football League. I think they'd be great if there'd be someone different, and for me, I like it. So for me, Altrincham finishing second. So then, who's finishing third? Now, again, we're probably sticking with the Northern team, but a side who, again, just made, as they're making a recording, we've just signed Josh Kay from Fylde, free transfer, and that is, of course, Oldham. Now, the reason why I picked Oldham is because a couple of things. Number one, Micky Mellon knows how to get out of the league, especially the National League. I think to say, you know, they were struggling Oldham, he's come in, steadied the ship, he finished them in the top 10. For me, that, you know, I think they're going to kick on, and they're a club, I think, Oldham, who have been in, you know, they have been in 3-4 for a lot of the clubs, certainly in the National League, and they're just starting to find their way back now. And it's nice to see, you know, an ex-Football League club, and it's nice to see a club like Oldham, who I think, for me, the community in desperate need of the club getting back into the Football League. And I feel like Micky Mellon could steer them back. He's, like I say, he's got like credentials. He did it with Tranmere Rovers. So for me, I think Oldham are going to be a bit of a dark horse in that playoff. So yes, Oldham finishing third. So then, who's finishing fourth? Now, for me, that it's a difficult one, because again, you know, for me, they're a club that's come down from the Football League, and I think they'll just steady the ship a little bit. It's always difficult that Football League clubs come down to the National League, expect to do well, and they find it a lot difficult, because National League's really become like League Two because there's not much of a gap. And for me, 4th place is going to be Sutton United. They've already made 4 signings already. They've let 2 go. One of the sort of big signings that they've had has been Lewis Simper from Cambridge United at the time of recording of this. But for me, Sutton, I think they'll do okay. I think they'll certainly do a lot better than Forest Green, and you'll see where I put Forest Green. But yes, I think Sutton will be in the playoffs, I think, this season. Like I said, look, take it with a pinch of salt. So, finishing 5th there now, again, a club that finished in the playoffs last season. They got beaten in the Eliminator, but again, I think they're going to kick on this season. That's, of course, Halifax Town now. And again, time of the recording this, they signed Will Smith since he got released from Harrogate Town, which, again, key signing, because I think he'll do well at this level. And for me, I think, you know, Halifax, again, they're a great club. I love going to the Share. I've been a couple of times now, and great fan base, really good fan base. And you know, the ground is such a good little away day as well. And you know, they have been, over the last couple of seasons, they've really improved. Ever since they won the FA Trophy a couple of seasons ago, they've really been in that sort of top half of the table and pushing. They're one of sort of maybe 4 or 5 clubs that have really sort of pushed on, sort of really since COVID really. But you know, I'd like to see Halifax do well, and I think they'll be up there. Like I say, Halifax 5th place. Down in, who's going to finish 6th? Now, a club for me that, if they can get their stadium right, I think he's going to be, I think they'll be up there. People might surprise me, but Gateshead. Now, you know, people might say, you've got a soft spot for Gateshead, haven't you, Joe? And you're absolutely right, I do. But, and that's because, again, my best mate is football friends. Yeah, he's a Gateshead fan, but they are featured on the channel quite heavily. And albeit, you know, I think last season, you know, they had a great season. You know, they really put a good run together. And albeit, if it wasn't for the council, they probably would have been, you know, they would have been playing playoff football. But look, if they can sort the stadium out, that's going to be the main thing. But to retain Rob Elliott as your manager, I think that continuity is important as the football club. But for me, you know, I do think I'd like to see them again. Another club I'd like to see them kick on this season. I do think they'll finish in the playoffs. If not, they'll certainly be in the round of dice for certain. So, who's going to get the final playoff place? Now, again, this could go down to any club really, but I'm picking Rochdale. But people might get, yeah, surprising one, but they could be that team that could put that run together towards the end of the season and really have a go at the playoffs. And again, one of the key signings is Adi Barlow. For me, it didn't work out with him at Rovers, but you know, I feel like he could do a good job at this level, and he'll bring a bit of flair, he'll bring a bit of excitement, and I want to see him do well. I think, you know, like I say, it didn't work out for him at Donny, and I felt like, again, he was kind of poorly managed at times, but you know, I think he'll go on and do well, Rochdale. But I think Rochdale, again, another club a bit like Oldham, you know, trying to find their feet after sort of, you know, being away from the Football League for a few years now. So I think they're a club that, you know, they could put that run together and try and get themselves into the playoffs. So you never know, you never know. So we'll go through these a little bit, but yes, 8th, 9th and 10th, the 3 clubs I feel that are just going to miss out on the playoffs. 8th is going to be Solihull Moors. Now, the heartache of losing out in the FA Trophy final, the heartache of losing in the playoff final, it's going to take a toll, and I think it'll be interesting to see how the players react. Not so much now, but probably the first 5-10 games in the season, whether how much of it affects them. And again, look, you lose your key player, Joseph Barra goes to Donny, which, not going to lie, I was really pleased with that. But for me, you know, it'll be interesting to see how Andy Wynn can cope, because he had a great first season at Solihull Moors. No one predicted to take them to the FA Trophy final. No one predicted them to get to the playoff final. So this is going to be the big test for him this season, whether he can have that sort of able to kick on, or they're going to have that sort of second season syndrome where it's going to be a bit of a lull campaign for them. But I like to think that they'll be up there. I think they can, for me, they're going to try and trap players, which is going to be the important thing. And, you know, you've got to replace Joe Sabara. But yes, Moore's 8th. 9th is Aldershot again. We need to tick off Aldershot as well, and we will do that very, very soon. And rounding off the top 10, Hartlepool United again. I think they're going to just miss out on the playoffs, but I think they're going to have a good campaign, that's for certain. So then we're going to go for the mid-table teams, and first off, 11th, Forest Green Rovers. Now, again, I think they'll do fine back in the Football League. No, back in the National League, and I think they're not going to have too many problems. I think they won't have any problems with relegation. I don't think they'll be in and around the playoffs yet. I just think they'll be that club that probably has a bit of a slow campaign for themselves. 12, I'm going to go with Dagenham and Redbridge again. They were mid-table last season. I think they'll be sort of in and around there again. Yeah, nothing much to say with that. 13th, I'm going to go Yeovil, the first of the promotion winners, I should say, getting from the National League South, because they won the league last campaign, and it's nice to see Yeovil back as well. And again, the club that I associated back in the Championship when they came up with us in League One. 14th, of course, second of the promotion contenders that came out, and they came from the National League North this time, and that is, of course, Boston United. Now, again, I think maybe a lot of those Boston fans will probably take 14th, given that it's going to be difficult for them. They don't want to be writing off the chances of going. We want to just kind of survive this season. I think they'll do okay. I think they'll have a bit of positivity coming from getting promoted, and I think they'll just kick on, I think. So yeah, and I think we will be doing a couple of Boston games, fingers crossed, this season. So then we're going to go sort of bottom half and middle, if that makes any sense. I don't know why. 15th, I'm going to go Maidenhead United again. Maybe a bit of an underwhelming campaign for them, but yeah, I think they'll just be in that batch of teams really. It's just like 16th, Eastleigh. Now, the only thing with Eastleigh is they signed Genty Satona from Donny. Now, I was a bit disappointed really that he had a great second half of the season. He went to Boston, did really, really well, and I thought Donny might give him a chance sort of in pre-season, but didn't work out for him, certainly with Donny. But I think they'll. For me, Eastleigh, I think you got yourself a decent little player there. Sort of keep him fit. I think he'll do just fine. I think I'd like to see him have a go at the National League, because National League North he did very well last season. 17th, Fylde again. I don't think they'll do much this season. And 18th, rounding off, Ebbsfleet United. We'll do Ebbsfleet at some point. We want to do some southern teams coming up this season, that's for certain. So yes, we're going to get to the nitty gritty of who's going to just survive. And yeah, 19th, I'm going to go with Woking. Now, again, Woking, who a couple of seasons ago were best of the rest, and they've seemed to have had a bit of an underwhelming. Well, they did have a bit of an underwhelming last season, bit of mid-table, and I think they'll be sort of fighting against relegation again this season. But for me, they're a nice club, and they've got a pretty nice stadium as well. So again, we will try and do them this season if we can. And I think 20th, sort of steering away from relegation, is of course Wealdstone. Yeah, and that's kind of where we'll be. So who do you think is going to go down from my predictions? Of course, if you think that I've been talking up to garbage, or you think where you think your team's going to be, let me know in the comments below. And who do you think is going to go up? Who do you think is going to go down? Who's going to get into the playoffs? Who's going to win the playoffs? And also, as a bonus, who do you think is going to win the FA Trophy this season? Now then, who's going to go down from the National League? Now, look, take this with a pinch of salt, and it's just an opinion, and because I know people get very passionate about it. Look, we're football fans at the end of the day. If you let me know in the comments what you think and where you think your team's going to finish, let me know. But 21st, I'm going to go with Braintree. Now, well done Braintree on getting back into the National League. And for me, the quality of the National League ever since Braintree have lasted in the National League has certainly gone up considerably. They made a couple of signings, Lewis Lomas being one. They signed him on a free transfer. Lewis Amersley from Dunkirk being another one as well, just to name a couple. But for me, I think they're going to struggle this season, and there's so many good teams now in the National League, so many teams sort of in that kind of middle range. It's going to be difficult. And just like 22nd with Southend. Now, this one's a tricky one really, because at the time of recording, the club's kind of been up for sale, and there's been a lot of talk about what's going on with the financial side of Southend now. We might put a little bit of an update in the description below when this video goes out, but this one could be a real dicey one with Southend. Look, I don't want any club to fold, just, you know, not even to my own worst enemy, but I think because of the financial problems with Southend, and it could affect the on-field stuff as well, so I think they're going to be fighting relegation for me. 23rd, I'm going to go with Tamworth. Now again, we saw Tamworth a couple of times last season. They were brilliant. I mean, again, they weren't the most sparkling side to watch, but they just got the job done, and sometimes you just need that when you win the league. But again, I think they're going to really struggle when they return to the National League. I'm finishing 24th, York City. Now again, York City's fan base can be very, very vocal, and but again, just surviving relegation last season, I think they're going to be down there again, so it's going to be difficult. But yes, that rounds off my National League predictions, and there we go then, my pre-season predictions for the National League for the 2024-25 season. And there has been a lot of changes. I did kind of look at it, but let me know what you think in the comments, and let me know where your team's going to finish this season in the National League, because I think it could be the most open league in the National League campaign that we've seen for a very, very long time. It could be fantastic, and we will do some games in the National League this season. We will try and get to some teams in the South well, because we've done a lot in the North. I think we need to do a lot in the South as well, just kind of balancing it out. But I've got a few ideas where we want to go this season, that is for certain. But hope you enjoyed this, because, you know, I love doing little predictions. I love interacting with you guys as well, because look, we all have our opinions at the end of the day. Look, let's take it with a pinch of salt a little bit. But for me, you know, it might annoy a few people where I put their team, but that's okay. That's okay. I'm not going to please, you can't please everyone. We could have everyone that wants to win the league, everyone can go down, or everyone can get into the playoffs. But sometimes that's just football and life, that's for certain. But yes, look, if you enjoyed this, you know what to do. Smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, and yeah, we'll be back at the weekend.